think it's important to realize, like, if you imagine when people say these things and how great that feels in your body, then you must acknowledge those feelings are already in your body. And because they're already in your body means that you have the ability to tap into that energy yourself and from yourself, and nobody outside of you. And some ways that you can do this could be by journaling every day. You could just write 3 simple things down. What am I proud of myself today? What do I love about myself today? What am I grateful about myself today? And just start there. If it's to do with your looks and how you feel visually, then look in the mirror naked. Look at yourself. Look at yourself in the eyes. You can do affirmations and start slowly and tell yourself that you love yourself. And if that doesn't feel authentic, then find what you do love about yourself and start there. Because the sooner you have internal validation, it becomes a lot harder for anybody to knock you off balance, because you will learn to know your worth. And knowing your worth is absolutely paramount, because when you know your worth, you will no longer have crappy friendships. You will no longer have crappy relationships, whether it's with friends or family, because you learn to take yourself out of that situation. And what happens with most of us is we will take all the positive comments, but also the negative comments can really hit deep. And you know, nobody wants to spend their whole life of being affected by other people's comments, because their comments are just their comments. It doesn't mean it's the truth. And even if that's their experience of you, it still doesn't mean it's the truth. 2 people can look at the same colour grass and see different shades. Neither one is wrong or right. It's just 2 different truths. We see life and experience life completely different to bats, dolphins, dogs. It doesn't mean that any of us are like wrong and experience it wrong, but we can have different truths. But when you get solid with your own self-worth, it enables you for nobody to like come and knock you off balance. So if whether somebody says something positive or something negative, it's just, okay, thank you, you know? And you're able to just shrug it off. I mean, if it's a nice compliment, you can take it on, but don't let it boost you. Don't let it, you know, because then the negative ones might take you down. So that's the first one. So number 2 is negative self-talk. I personally I just was so in shock when I found out how many people have negative self-talk, and not only just negative self-talk, but like the percentage of negative self-talk. Like some people, literally 80% of what goes on up here is negative self-talk. And, you know, it's important to understand, which I've done in other videos, and I'll put the link up here, that all our thoughts, they are not us. We are just the observer of them. Every thought that we have comes from our previous life experiences, from our family, from the media, from school. And so a lot of people can get a message that they're not good enough when actually they are. It's just from the things that they've seen and heard. I believe, as a rule, if you have a thought and it creates a negative feeling in the body, then not to trust it, because our true source, our essence, only wants us to feel love and light and amazing and positive. So anything that's negative, there's a lesson in our growth and how we can learn, but to know that it's not us, it's not the truth. And so some things you can do if you have negative self-talk is just trying to reframe them. So if there's something that you can recognize in yourself that you have a lot, for example, I'm rubbish at learning new things. I'm absolutely rubbish. I can't learn anything new. Just change it. Every day I'm learning more and more to do my best to learn new things. Or if it is, oh, you look disgusting. I hate you. I really don't enjoy how you look. Then just turn it around and reframe it to, you know what, today? I love my nails and I love my little finger. I love how that looks. And I appreciate how that looks. And I am growing to love the rest of me too. Do you see, you just small tweaks, and I feel that we need to give ourselves tools. And what I mean by this is already have things written down. So if you know what the common negative things are that you have, then write down what could be a positive way of reframing it. You know, even if it's like just thinking, nobody likes you, everybody thinks you're an idiot, change it. Well, probability, it's not possible for everybody not to like me. There will be people that like me. It might be like far and few, but there will always be people that resonate with me. But when you write it down, you're giving yourself the tools. So when they come up, you've got your tools you can go to, but you can start repeating it. And trust me, once you start doing it for a certain amount of time, you are replacing those neural pathways. And before you know it, it will become second nature to you to have those positive thoughts. And so it doesn't have to be so negative. If there's any negative self-talk that you have that's the most repetitive one, or that you're struggling to reframe it, drop it in the comments and I will have a think of how I could help you to reframe that. Okay, so the last one, and number 3, is comparing yourself to others. And why this is not good is because we all have completely different lives, completely different experiences, and also completely different innate personalities, that is more nature over nurture. And so it would also be very boring if we were all the same. And so why this is important is because if somebody had a life that you had, they might actually be where you are, regardless of what it is. And you can compare and be like, oh, this person has their own house, this person has a really good car, this person has really amazing clothes. Okay, just because they have that doesn't mean that they are happy. And just because you don't have that doesn't mean that you are not worthy of your love. And so comparing yourself to others, I mean, maybe there's times when I think it's good to compare. So as an example, in my last video, and I was saying about if you're living in a small house, you can compare yourself and realize how lucky you are to even have a house. Because there's sometimes 8 people in a mud hut, and there's thousands of people that are homeless in the UK and other countries. I mean, there's people that are living on landfills. Okay, so comparing in that way, I think, is okay to help you to realize, actually, I am pretty blessed. I am very lucky. Because also you're then switching your mindset to abundance and gratitude rather than thinking about lack. And that is what can happen when we compare ourselves to other people. It creates lack in the body. And I want to just touch up on, again, one of the first points that I made when we was talking about number 1, is that all of these external things, all of these things outside of us, they trigger emotions in our body, but you have to understand, those feelings and emotions are already there. And if you can learn to tap into that without needing any of these things, trust me, you will be feeling so full of love and just so happy, and just knowing that you don't need these things, like it's already here inside of you. Just tap into that. You know, sometimes I tell myself quite often is, if I'm feeling triggered, then okay, all right, I'm feeling triggered, I'm feeling off balance, I'm either feeling frustrated or if I'm feeling a little bit sad, okay, but if I was told that I was going to die in an hour or tomorrow, would I choose to spend my time feeling this? No. How would I want to feel? And I choose it. I actively choose it. And don't get me wrong, and definitely don't be spiritually bypassing your emotions and things like that, because there are times and places where we need to allow these things to come up and out. But I think that if you're being thrown off balance all the time, realize that you can learn from that, but also that you are choosing that, and that there are other feelings that you can choose. And when you get back to your baseline and feeling great, then go back to them, then process it, you know, but you don't have to allow yourself to stew in emotions for so long. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video here. Please share anything that's been helpful for you, or anything that you know that might actually help another viewer. All right, so much love and blessings. Thank you. Bye.